ATG Rel here, Terrell here again to talk about a new Netflix special, new Netflix animated series that we all been waiting for, so special to our hearts. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And I just want to reiterate, this is a spoiler review. So if you come in here and you want to know all the juice about what's going on with Scott Pilgrim and his precious little life, you want to know everything that is to know about the new Netflix series of the new show that you swore you wasn't going to watch, you was going to unsubscribe, you were done with Netflix, the prices was too high, it's too much, but they keep giving you all this content. They keep giving you all this content, and you want to turn it off? No, I don't think so. So look, we'll talk about Scott Pilgrim, break it down, give you a little spoiler review here, and let's get into it. So, as you know, Scott Pilgrim, if you've seen the movie back in 2000, I want to make sure I get this right. 2010 is when that movie came out, a sleeper hit of the year. The story based upon Bryan Lee O'Malley, had a star-studded cast, and then we were pleasantly surprised to hear that entire cast was going to come back and do every single voice in the series. As I said in another review, I'm shocked. That level of star power, being able to get anybody that did the live action version to come back and do animated is almost impossible. So I'm shocked. And needless to say, I started watching this and I didn't know how to feel. Let me just say this: the Scott is taken completely off the board in this series. He's gone for the majority of the show. Out of the 8 episodes, Scott Pilgrim is gone for majority of the show. So I think you get him maybe after 1, maybe 2, and then he doesn't come back to 7 and 8. So because he's gone. This show was primarily set around pretty much everybody else except Scott, mainly Ramona. As Ramona is looking for Scott, who is assumed to be dead. Everybody thinks that Scott has been killed off within the first couple minutes of the show. So you think Scott Pilgrim is dead. Come to find out that he wasn't dead, he's kidnapped. And Ramona, like I said, pretty much changes that entire thing. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I mean, it's in the title, right? You can't be blind to see that. Like I said, Scott's pretty much gone. I really love that everybody came back for this series, man. I feel like everybody, I mean, obviously just fit these characters so well, the voices so well. Some people being older now, I feel like it kind of they just kind of can't get back into the groove of their character. Mainly Knives. I feel like everybody else is fine. Knives, she was super young when that came out, so now she's older. It just doesn't hit. But like I said, this show takes place pretty much following everybody else. So we see pretty much with Scott, what we thought was gonna just play out as the movie, the same events. Scott goes on the fight. Ramona's 7 evil exes does not happen. So pretty much, creates an entire different scenario where Scott is gone and they pretty much move on with their lives now that Scott Pilgrim is dead. And for the most part, everybody's life is better that Scott is gone. Hit the first evil ex-boyfriend. Let me make sure I get that right. Mr. Patel, Matthew Patel himself, goes on to become the CEO of Gideon Graves' company after challenging him for his seat. And this is also the first time that we see, outside the movie, all of the 7 evil exes in one room, because before they were all just kind of randomly scattered. But we actually see them kind of talk about their plan, what they're gonna do, XYZ, what the league is, and we find out Gideon's real name too, which is even funnier. So we get a little bit more, insight on those characters, more backstory. Like I said, this goes a completely different route now that Scott's out of the picture. They actually won. They beat Scott, who was supposed to be the best fighter of all time. We see that, and I just think that's just so weird. We just again having all these actors back to these voices, and like I said, just have them in the rooms talking to each other, because majority of those characters did not even talk to each other at all in the previous movie. Um, so yeah, like I said, we dealing with Ramona now, looking for Scott. We have, we see different perspectives of and more backstory of the exes beyond like the little clip that we saw before. We get a little bit more with Roxy, who comes into play. We get a little bit more of Lucas Lee. We get more. We get way more detail into Gideon Graves. More of his story. Why is what. Why everybody. You know, everybody that love Ramona, like Ramona, why they're at where they're at now. Um, I'm surprised to see like how much this this kind of grows up with the audience. I think it grows up to like really deal with some issues that they kind of talk about the movie in itself, where there's also a scene in the movie where they're redoing the movie. They're redoing all the events that were supposed to happen if Scott didn't get kidnapped. So we get more with young Neil. We get more of the backstory with Kim. We get just more time with everybody, which is what I really appreciate. So we see a lot of that. Pretty much like in this show, like I said, we see a lot more with every character. Wallace Wells, banging everybody. We see a little bit more of what the vegan powers can do. They got the twins that are back in this. Like I said, showing more of the crazy stuff they can do. Because like I said, I feel like they didn't get a lot of time either in the movie. So we get a little bit more, not a lot, but we get a little bit more of them and their backstory and what they can do, and kind of everybody's kind of correlation to Ramona and why everybody decided to turn evil. We really get like the out of the 8 episodes, like the big thing is that Scott gets kidnapped by himself. Scott gets kidnapped by himself in the future. So they create a time portal to send him back to where he is. And I just knew that's what was going to happen, and I freaking loved it. Older Scott, played by Will Forte, is like the best thing you could have ever asked for. Perfect casting. So yeah, we get Scott in the future, and future Scott is now divorced, separated from Ramona because they had a little fight or incident that about whatever, and now future Scott is trying to stop past Scott from ever getting Ramona because his heart is broken, and that was the worst thing that ever happened to him. So now he's changing the past to change the future, create a different alternate timeline for this Scott. And yeah, it gets out of hand, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love every moment of it and how ridiculous Scott Pilgrim is. So yeah, we deal with future Scott. The heroes come together, they defeat him, and then after the villains defeated, they have Ramona and Scott are not able to kiss because now there's Scott has nanites in him that is preventing him from kissing Ramona and finding out that is his true love, which I thought was hilarious. Them trying to kiss, and then trying to find a way to kiss it. Way to get together to kiss was hilarious. This show was nothing but amazing. Like I said, the animation is top notch. Shout out to the studio that did this. Give you your flowers. This looks good. Shout out to like the voice director, the cast. The cast came together wonderfully. It's like they never left that movie. I love this. This is amazing. Every single character, and I just want to go through some. Like I said, Brie Larson being able to come back as Envy, Mary coming back as Ramona, of course. Jason Schwartzman as Gideon. Chris Evans as Lucas. Anna Kendrick is coming back as Stacy Pilgrim. Who has a couple of scenes in this where she is, spreading rumors and stuff on the phone. It's hilarious. Aubrey Plaza coming back as Julie. Julie has a lot more screen time, especially involving Gideon and their love affair together in this, which I think is hilarious. Mae Whitman comes back as Roxy. She gives us a little bit more with Roxy, so definitely take a look at that. Go see some kissing. You got Kieran Culkin coming back as Wallace Wells. I think Kieran is just amazing. Wallace has got to be one of the best characters in the movie in this show hands down. I love me some Wallace Wells. Allison Pill coming back as Kim, killing it. Michael Cera, of course, is Scott Pilgrim. Also, I feel like Michael, and I'm not sure if he played other voices because I felt like at times I've heard characters that sounded like him. I feel like he got kind of short-handed because he's not in the show as much, and everybody else gets more screen time. But it still comes together really, really well. Like I said, throughout the 8 episodes. Brandon Routh is Todd coming back. I loved it. Ellen Wong is Naf Chow. Jace Johnny Simmons as Young Neil. And I can go on. Oh, and Stephon Johnson, the guy who does the food reviews, is the game announcer in this, which I think kind of threw me off. But like I said, it was pretty cool. Overall, this story is pretty cool, man. We see an alternate reality Scott Pilgrim, basically, a completely different, now that time has been altered, in this different timeline, where Scott and Ramona hook up. And I definitely like being able to see more of the characters grow and seeing what else they were capable of, other than getting punched into, coins, and that was it. I still love the 2010 movie, but I definitely love this series. All of it kind of combines together, and definitely brings it together very, very well. Scott Pilgrim is, hands down still one of my favorite properties. And I wish we can get more Scott Pilgrim stuff. From the books to now we got the movie, the show. Hopefully we get some more merchandise. But yeah, this show's great, man. Like I said, it's less of Scott, more Ramona and the other characters, which I don't have a problem with. It comes together very well within the 8 episodes. The music is amazing, freaking amazing. Like some of the best. Check out the soundtrack, people. The soundtrack, the songs at the end of every episode are great. The music, the fighting, the music while fighting is really, really good. This show is great. I feel like they're going to be talking about this show for a while. You're not going to sit up here and tell me that you don't bang with Netflix. And they keep bringing all this heat every single week with an animated department. You got nothing. Like from Scott Pilgrim to whatever else they bring out, everything's been good the last couple weeks, couple months. So this is another example of, if you got to go with any streaming service, I think Netflix is definitely one of the better ones. You feel like your money is not wasted. They're not paying me, but I'm just saying this show alone is enough to keep your Netflix subscription. So other than that, tell me what you thought about the show below. Scott from the future, saving young Scott, everybody coming back. This is we're doing multiverse, is the theme of the year, the last 2 years. So Scott Pilgrim had to jump in on it. And like I said, this is really, really good. Please watch it. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Didn't want to spoil everything for you, but I definitely wanted to hit some of the heavier stuff that you're gonna see. So definitely check it out. Please let me know on Friday, on the 17th, when you see this, what you thought about the show. Leave me a comment, and I'll see you guys next time for another review. Thank you.